This video provides an understanding of how manufacturers can maximize the value of planning and performance management processes and technology, while also minimizing the total cost of ownership. This chapter in the video series addresses 4 questions. How can manufacturers maximize technology value? How can manufacturers minimize technology costs? Why don't manufacturers achieve these objectives? And what immediate steps can you take to ensure that you do achieve them? The focus of this chapter is on corporate performance management and operations and operational finance applications and processes. Collectively, they will be referred to as manufacturing management processes and technologies. Now, most of the processes should be familiar to viewers. If not, you're referred to the market overview chapter where this slide was initially presented. In the current state chapter, we saw that as manufacturers become larger and more complex, they aren't always realizing the full value of investments in manufacturing management processes and technologies. We also saw that these gaps are being experienced in more strategic applications, as illustrated by the pink box on the screen. A key point here is that these gaps aren't always experienced immediately. This is because implementations of planning and performance management solutions often start with more tactical applications, as illustrated by the blue box on the screen. Strategic ones come in later phases, which is when these gaps are revealed. One reason for this situation lies in how organizations select software. When defining requirements, they often spend too much time understanding and defining tactical requirements that offer little capability and/or value definition. This is illustrated by the small blue circle in the top right. Less effort is spent on more strategic ones having the greatest value potential, as illustrated by the large pink circle in the bottom left. Addressing this situation requires a greater level understanding of and time devoted to defining strategic requirements. This is illustrated by the pink circle in the top right. A classic example of such a requirement would be scenario planning and what-if analysis. Virtually every software vendor supports basic scenarios. Identifying ones that can support more complex scenarios requires a more detailed definition of requirements. Provided in another video chapter of this series is an overview of what more mature manufacturing logic means. This logic provides the means to support fast, accurate, and complete scenarios. These types of models enable manufacturers to simulate the business from both operational and financial perspectives, the latter including things like profit, cash flow, working capital, and foreign currency exposure. The key takeaway here is that when strategic requirements are being defined, it should be done at sufficient levels of detail that can expose gaps in specific modeling logic and process execution capabilities. Moreover, these requirements should be defined before the software is actually purchased. Defining strategic requirements early enables a more holistic approach that can more accurately assess the total cost of ownership over the life of the technology. This is in contrast to incremental approaches that define strategic and tactical requirements separately. As can be seen from the screen, holistic approaches can result in significantly lower ownership costs because they avoid costs associated with immature solutions having key capability gaps. Differences in total ownership costs can be significant. Where integrated and manufacturing-specific tools can support both financial and operational processes, technology-related costs can be as much as 50% lower. What's more, the use of a single tool can eliminate many redundant and non-value-add activities that needlessly inflate the cost of planning and managing a business. Examples of non-value-added activities include those shown on the screen. One of the primary manual tasks that can be eliminated through financial and operational integration is reconciliation. Since plans come from the same source, there's no need to reconcile them. Moreover, there's no need for finance to maintain separate planning models, since they can share the ones used by operations. The key point here is that there are many costs involved in maintaining fragmented planning and performance management processes and technologies, and eliminating them can be a great source of value. So, what are the key action items from these insights? Well, in the longer term, manufacturers should be developing a plan to assess their current situation and to determine a path forward. But before organizations can even get to this point, They should first determine if integrated manufacturing management processes and technologies are relevant to them. One way to make this determination is by way of a short workshop. Its objectives are shown on the screen, the primary one being to assess the relevance of integrated processes and manufacturing-specific technologies to finance and broader business strategies. Based on this assessment, organizations can then chart a path forward, armed with an understanding of critical requirements and key gaps. The scope of this workshop should include all processes and technologies that are used to plan and manage the business. Now, this slide was presented earlier and will not be elaborated upon here. Provided on the screen are some of the key questions that such a workshop should address. 3 of the primary ones being the following. How relevant are manufacturing-specific tools to our organization? What incremental capabilities do they provide that others do not? And what are they worth? The other questions provide the foundation to answer these 3. This approach has numerous benefits, as illustrated on the screen. The primary ones being lower process and technology costs, greater value, and a shorter time to realize this value. Provided on the screen are the key questions that we started with. Hopefully, this video has provided sufficient information to help you answer them for your organization. Thank you for watching this video. Further details about its contents can be obtained by using the contact information provided on the screen.